In the busy streets of a town, an orphan girl named Wistie desperately begged passers-by for spare change so she wouldn't starve. Nobody spared her a glance. As a result, the corrupt priest who cared for her punished her, leaving her no choice but to eat cold, stale bread off the floor. Despite her bleak existence, she found joy in one thing: knocking on her window 3 times after midnight to meet the demon Marbos. That night, the priest barged into her room and scolded her for staying up late, reminding her she had to beg again tomorrow. He seemingly couldn't see the demon standing right beside her and left. Marbos told her she shouldn't address the priest so respectfully given everything he put her through. Wistie insisted the clergy were taking care of her and that begging was simply her way of giving back. Looking at her gentle nature, Marbos recalled how they had first met. He had been living a desolate, invisible existence, while she had been living a desperate one that was difficult to watch. Taking out his frustration, he had carelessly asked her whether she wanted to live a miserable life until she died, and to his complete shock, she had actually seen him. For the first time in his existence, a human had acknowledged him. Curious, he visited her that night. She confirmed she had been able to see demons since birth. Frightened, she asked if he had come for her soul. He denied it, telling her he was simply fascinated that a human could finally see him. Trying to connect with him, she asked him to tell her a story so she could fall asleep peacefully. Back in the present, Wistie asked him for a story again. She had been looking forward to it every night, saying his stories made her feel like she was traveling. After a pause, Marbos recounted how he had watched one of Shakespeare's plays in London 300 years ago. Elsewhere, a sword-crossed knight named Snow was ambushed by a demon but killed it easily with his gun. It attacked again, and another knight named Taku arrived to help finish it off. Taku reminded Snow to stay alert. A high-level demon was loose somewhere in London. Snow vowed with quiet determination to defeat every demon he came across. Back with Wistie, she listened to Marbos' Shakespeare story with wide eyes. He couldn't understand what she found so amusing, and she told him that because it had been so long since he had real friends, he struggled to understand others. Marbos then shifted into his human form, explaining that in this state, humans could see him. He had the ability to speak with others this way, but it drained him too much to use often, and women tended to chase after him relentlessly in this form, which had become a nuisance. Wistie laughed. She thanked him for his friendship, admitting she had always hated her eyes for the things they made her see. Her special sight had gotten her ridiculed and cast out her whole life. But because of Marbos, she now looked forward to each new day and had come to treasure what made her different. Walking home that night, Marbos quietly wondered why he kept returning to this pitiful girl every single evening. The next day, the priest told Wistie he had found her a buyer. She would be going to live with an aristocrat rather than a brothel. He told her to enjoy her last meal before then. That evening, Wistie told Marbos what had happened, visibly shaking as she spoke. She remembered how her older brother had been sold off the same way, and how she had searched everywhere for him without success. Refusing to suffer the same fate, she begged Marbos to take her away. He refused. It was against the code demons followed. Saving a human without extracting a price would cause their bodies to crumble and disintegrate. Desperate, she offered him her soul, telling him she had no reason to live beyond their friendship. Marbos told her he was immortal and had no need for more life. He was already exhausted and weary of existing. She fell quiet and surrendered to her fate. The next morning, Marbos watched in silence as she boarded the carriage to her new master. While he stood there contemplating, he noticed a knight named Snow frantically kicking at the church door. The priest opened it, confused. Inside, Snow confronted him after detecting a strong demonic presence, threatening to shut the church down if he refused to talk. The priest denied knowing any demons, but mentioned a silver-haired girl who used to live there and talk to herself every night. Snow asked about her, only to learn she had already been sold to a wealthy lord known for torturing girls. Revolted, Snow struck the priest. Meanwhile, Marbos was already moving in fury toward where Wistie had been taken. Inside the mansion, Wistie had discovered her room was filled with torture devices and was running frantically from the aristocrat. He caught her. Then Marbos burst through the door in his human form and offered to buy her from the man. His body immediately began to weaken from the transformation, and Wistie rushed to his side. The man moved to attack her, but Marbos used his power to throw him back. He admitted quietly that she made life bearable for him. He had thought he had given up on living, but now he wanted a future with her. Then a demon who had made a pact with the aristocrat god appeared and launched an attack. It mocked Marbos for breaking the rules and failing to form a pact with the girl. Seeing him crumbling, Wistie offered Marbos her gift of sight and formed a pact with him herself. Strength flooded back into him instantly, and he transformed back into his true demon form. The lower demon recoiled in horror, recognizing him as one of the 13 calamities. Marbos destroyed it without effort and carried Wistie out of the burning mansion. He told her they should start planning their journey, because for the first time in centuries he was genuinely looking forward to what came next. Snow was torturing a demon, demanding information on a red-haired demon he was hunting. Getting nothing useful, he killed the creature without mercy. Meanwhile, now blind, Marbos handed Wistie a cane and explained that the house they were staying in had belonged to a human who had previously formed a pact with him. Since Wistie couldn't manage much yet, Marbos cleaned the entire house himself, something he found genuinely hard to believe he was doing. On top of that, he had to go out for food and shop for clothes on her behalf. While out shopping, Wistie bumped into a girl named Diana from the noble Black Bell family. Wistie immediately apologized upon learning of her status. Diana noticed she seemed to be alone and asked if she had a companion. Wistie said her situation was complicated. Delighted to shop with someone her own age, Diana offered to pick clothes together, and the two instantly bonded over it. She dismissed her own companion, who quietly slipped out of the shop. Outside, Marbos detected a presence and recognized it as Naba, a wolf demon and one of the 13 calamities of the wasteland. By the time the girls finished shopping, Diana had already spotted Marbos with Wistie. She told them they should shop together again sometime and invited Wistie to visit her at the Black Bell estate whenever she liked. Later, Wistie and Marbos sat down to eat together. He helped her with her food, which she found deeply embarrassing. She invited him to eat as well, but he reminded her that demons had no need for food. She grew quiet and nostalgic, remembering how she used to share meals with her brother. Wanting to make her happy, Marbos ate anyway. They were both surprised when they finished everything. Overwhelmed, Wistie tearfully thanked him for taking her in and making her feel alive again. He told her simply that in exchange for curing his boredom, he would stay by her side and never abandon her. Setting out later for supplies, Marbos turned over what Naba had told him. One of the 13 calamities, Astaroth, had been killed. He wondered who could possibly have managed that. His thoughts were interrupted when Snow appeared, having followed him into a cafe. Discreetly pointing a gun at him, Snow demanded Marbos hand over his sister Wistie, telling him he had been searching for her for years. Since they were surrounded by people, Marbos calmly suggested they settle things in the forest on the eastern outskirts of town. Heading home afterward, Marbos couldn't name the feeling stirring inside him as he thought about Wistie reuniting with her brother and leaving him behind. He told her they were leaving. She was surprised. Then Snow appeared at the door and stopped cold, seeing his sister blind. His shock quickly turned to displeasure when he found her standing beside Marbos, whom she immediately moved to protect. Wistie told him she was overjoyed they had finally found each other, but that she cared for them both and wouldn't allow them to fight. Snow ignored her and told her to come with him. Marbos then revealed that she had already formed a pact with him, offering her vision in exchange for his permanent companionship. Snow went pale. He knew the Order showed no mercy to those who dealt with demons. Wistie's life would be in danger the moment they found out. Determined to save her, he resolved to kill Marbos and break the pact. The two clashed. Snow was clearly outmatched. He reached for his holy pistol, the Heart Knocker, a weapon capable of killing any demon. He took aim at Marbos, but Wistie threw herself into the path of the shot. Before the bullet could reach her, Marbos stepped in front of her and took it himself. Snow stared, visibly shaken by the bond between them, especially when his sister begged him to let her stay with Marbos. Knowing she had already made her decision, Snow reluctantly entrusted her to the demon's care, warning him that if anything happened to her, he would come back and finish the job. He then turned and set off to return to the Order, promising Wistie he would see her again. The demon and his companion set out on their journey together. A woman sprinted frantically through the forest as a water demon from the river closed in behind her. Meanwhile, Wistie and Marbach arrived in Warrington, unaware that a lesser demon and his contractor were tailing them. Marbos swiftly dealt with the lesser demon, named Mori, who had been attempting to pickpocket them. Realizing he was in the presence of a great demon, Mori immediately apologized and begged for mercy. Just then, his contractor, a girl named Hana, stepped out of a nearby alley and demanded Marbos release her companion. Wistie was puzzled that Hana could see Marbos in his true form, and he explained that forming a pact with a demon allowed a person to see other demons as well. He then told Hana that in exchange for letting Mori go unharmed, she owed Wistie a meal for attempting to rob her. Hana brought them to a shop and treated them as promised. Marbos noticed people keeping their distance from her due to her reputation as a thief. He also noticed something else when she handed him her purse, but Mori quietly pleaded with him to say nothing, not wanting to leave the girl's side any sooner than necessary. Marbos agreed, preferring not to get involved. That night, he told Wistie they would be leaving the following day. The town was busier than expected and drawing too much attention. Wistie was disappointed. It was the first time she had met another girl who had formed a pact with a demon. But they needed to move on and meet a friend of Marbos who lived in the district of the lakes. Unknown to them, Mori was already watching and scheming to delay their departure. The next morning, Marbos opened the newspaper and found Hana listed among the victims of a series of riverside murders. Sensing something was wrong, Wistie asked what had happened. He told her everything was fine. As he moved to get up, he winced. His back had been suffering from overusing his human form recently. Wistie moved to help him, but her stomach growled before she could. Right on cue, Hana and Mori appeared and invited them for a meal. Since Marbos couldn't move comfortably, he let Wistie go with Hana while he stayed behind. He tied one of his hairs around her finger so they could communicate if needed. The three spent the day strolling through town and enjoying themselves. As evening fell, Mori led them down to the riverside. Hana opened up and shared her story. Her parents had died and she had been forced to pickpocket to survive. In her darkest moment, she had offered to trade her soul after death in exchange for help with stealing. Since everyone in town treated her as an outcast, Mori had become her only companion. Wistie connected with her deeply, recognizing the same loneliness she had lived through herself before Marbos. As it grew late, Hana suggested they head back before Marbos got irritated, but Mori told her they should leave Wistie behind. It was the only way Hana could survive. Before Hana could make sense of what he meant, the water demon burst from the river to claim her. The ring on Wistie's finger glowed, alerting Marbos that she was in danger. Before the water demon could strike, the sword-crossed knights appeared and shielded the two girls from the creature. Taku swiftly defeated the demon, then turned his attention to Wistie, sensing strong demonic energy surrounding her. As he reached for his sword, Marbos appeared and placed himself between them. His colleague Kate warned Taku that the red-haired demon was a high-ranking one. To stop them from pressing forward, Marbos unleashed his power and split the ground, forcing Kate back. Taku refused to retreat and slashed at Marbos, cutting through his hair. Marbos was surprised the blade had affected him despite not being silver or blessed with holy magic. Taku attacked again, but this time Marbos overpowered him and broke his sword clean in half. Kate resurfaced, fired her gun, accidentally clipping Mori, and retreated with Taku. Furious at having Wistie put in danger, Marbos turned on Mori and threatened to end him. Wistie stepped in and stopped him. Marbos then demanded answers, revealing what he had already figured out. Hana had died long ago. Mori explained everything. A woman had once drowned herself in the river, wishing in her final moments that everyone around her would die. A demon happened to be residing in the river at that time, and her dying wish became a contract. Hana, who had been in the water at the same moment, was killed as a result, and that was when her pact with Mori had taken effect. With her death, her soul had belonged to Mori ever since, and the water demon had been trying to collect it ever since. Listening carefully, Wistie began to piece things together. The purse that never ran out of money, the way people seemed to stop noticing Hana. Hana took it all in quietly. Then she turned to Mori and thanked him, telling him he had made her feel more alive than she ever had while she was actually breathing. As her way of showing gratitude, she urged him to consume her soul so he could survive. That way, she told him, they would never truly be apart. She would simply become a part of him. Mori claimed her soul, and Hana passed on peacefully. Afterward, Wistie wept over Hana's fate. Marbos consoled her gently, telling her that Hana had been smiling when she left. Naba took down a man scouting for the sword-crossed knights. Diana told him not to kill the spy, and Naba called her soft for it, reminding her not to lose sight of why she had summoned him in the first place. Meanwhile, Marbos and Wistie trudged through snowy mountains toward their destination, until Wistie suddenly collapsed. Naba sensed a powerful demonic presence from afar and went out to investigate, finding Marbos carrying an unconscious Wistie back. Diana put her to bed and scolded Marbos for letting her push herself to the point of collapse from cold and exhaustion. Naba laughed at him, saying humans were a handful, and he should have known better. Back at headquarters, Snow returned to find the commander had also arrived, signaling that a new mission was beginning. In his throne room, the commander ordered his knights to purge the Black Bell family and announced he would personally join the assault. He told them to expect a demon on par with Astaroth, whom they had recently captured, and added that the contractor was believed to be the youngest daughter of the Black Bell family. At the mansion, Wistie regained consciousness and was delighted to reunite with Diana, discovering she had also formed a pact with a demon. Diana sat with her and shared her family's history. It had all begun when her ancestor, the first Earl of House Blackbell, made a pact with a demon, and in exchange each male heir gained the ability to see demons. Using this gift, her family had served the royal household as official negotiators with demons, protecting them from assassinations carried out through demonic pacts. For generations, they had been the unseen shield of the crown. Then, the Sword Cross Order was formed with the sole purpose of hunting demons. Around the same time, her brothers failed to inherit the ability for reasons unknown, leading to the assassination of an aristocrat at a demon's hands. Her brothers took responsibility and ended their own lives, but the damage to the family name was already done, and the Sword Cross Knights had seized on it immediately. Since Diana had made a pact with a demon, she expected the order to come for her soon and urged her two guests to evacuate while they still could. Later, Marbos apologized to Wistie for rushing their journey and causing her to fall ill, promising to be more patient going forward. He then noted that she seemed unbothered about not intervening in Diana's coming confrontation. Wistie said it wasn't something outsiders should involve themselves in. It was a matter of honor and pride. Her only wish was that her brother and Diana wouldn't end up facing each other in the battle. Just then, Naba appeared and told them to leave immediately. The knights had arrived earlier than expected. Inside, Diana calmly welcomed the knights and greeted one of them by name, Stanley. Another knight named Shura moved to attack her, but Naba arrived in time and intercepted. Being a great demon himself, he overpowered the knights without much effort. Diana declared that her wish was simple, for the royal family to acknowledge her family's worth once more. She told the knights to leave and addressed the commander directly, telling him he had no right to trample on her family name. A barrage of swords came flying toward them in response, and Naba used his own body to shield Diana from the attack. The commander stepped forward and mocked the girl, treating it as though the demon's defeat were already certain. Diana begged Naba to get up. He opened his eyes and charged at the commander, landing what should have been a killing blow. The knight was completely unaffected and fought back on equal footing, wounding Naba with a holy sword. Watching from the side, Marbos had seen enough. He stepped onto the battlefield to everyone's surprise and slapped Naba, mocking him for letting a human get the upper hand. The two demons traded insults and fell into their own rhythm, and the commander recognized Marbos from Taku's earlier report. He asked whether Marbos was there to help the wolf demon, noting what appeared to be an unlikely friendship. Both demons were equally offended by the suggestion and attacked him together, but the commander withstood them both. Realizing he was now facing two formidable demons simultaneously, he shifted his approach and proposed to Diana that they end things without further bloodshed. Diana agreed. After the fight, Wistie told Diana she was relieved everything had worked out. Diana smiled and said she felt stronger with friends by her side. The two demons heard that and looked equally annoyed. The following day, the group made their way to the commander's residence with Naba posing as Diana's older brother. She reminded him to carry himself as a calm and composed nobleman. Unknown to them, Snow was tailing the group from behind. Upon arriving, Naba introduced himself in his human form as the head of the Black Bell family. The commander got straight to the point. The queen had ordered the purge of the Black Bell family. Diana was visibly shaken. He explained that after the family's failure to prevent the recent demonic assassination, the queen had deemed them useless, and their ties to demonkind made them a threat. However, he offered a way out. He would restore their standing and appeal to the queen on their behalf, provided they nullified their agreement with the great demon. Diana refused without hesitation, saying her family's honor was worth more than her life. The commander called her foolish, warning that her decision would trap her in an endless war with the Order until she died. As the group turned to leave, the commander quietly signaled Snow to assassinate the head of the family now that negotiations had broken down. Snow, however, found himself conflicted. The girl reminded him of Wistie, and he respected her for not having harmed anyone on their side. In the carriage, Diana praised Naba for his convincing performance as her brother. She remembered that Wistie had a brother too and asked about him. Wistie described him as someone with a cold exterior but a deeply kind heart who always put her first. Outside the carriage, Snow had his gun trained on Diana and was ready to fire, but he hesitated, and the shot missed. Back at camp, Taku reprimanded him for showing mercy to the enemy. At the Black Bell Mansion, Marbos told Naba that another attack was almost certain to come that night. They discussed Diana's decision to fight for her family's pride, knowing she would likely die for it. Naba admitted she was foolish for choosing honor, but admitted it was also what he admired about her. Wistie overheard, worry written clearly across her face. As night fell, Diana and Naba stood ready as the enemy forces advanced on the fortress. Diana quietly reflected on how grateful she was to have met both Naba and Wistie, her thoughts drifting warmly to the time they had spent together. Then she heard Wistie calling her name frantically. Diana turned and scolded her for not evacuating as planned. Wistie admitted she had intended to honor Diana's wishes, but she couldn't stand back and do nothing while her friend faced death. Marbos appeared alongside her, telling Naba he was willing to fight since Wistie refused to leave. He made it clear he wasn't doing it for Naba. He simply wanted another shot at the commander, who irritated him. The commander arrived in new armor and wasted no time attacking both demons simultaneously. He overpowered them both and cut through them with his sword, making it clear he hadn't come unprepared to face two of them. He then signaled his knights to release Astaroth from her cage. The demon showed no loyalty to her fellow calamities and immediately joined the commander's assault. Naba called her out for siding with a human. She mocked them all for playing house with mortals and turned her attack on Diana, who deflected it with the aid of another demon, revealing she had contracts with additional demons as well. Silently, though, Diana knew it was a bluff she could only use once. To break her, the commander ordered Diana's family mansion set ablaze. The sight of it unraveling hit her hard, flooding her with memories of everything she had loved about that place. Wistie stepped in and brought her back, telling her that her friends were right behind her and that as long as she was alive, the Black Bell legacy would live on. Diana steadied herself and stood her ground. The commander looked genuinely impressed, but told her that having formed a pact with a demon, she still had to be eliminated. He gave the order. A bullet found Diana, and she fell. As she lay on the ground, she thought of her brother, how he had always shielded her and carried the weight of the family's failures so she wouldn't have to. With her final breath, she thanked Naba for staying by her side until the very end and asked him not to forget her. In grief and fury, Naba broke his chains and unleashed his true form, one of the 13 calamities, unbound. Stay tuned for the next part. It's even crazier, so don't miss it. Subscribe if you're enjoying these recaps. It's free, and you can always change your mind. Also, if you want more anime recaps, make sure to check out this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.